This is the story of how a handful of guys launched an industrial revolution, how they changed the culture of business, how they made history.
I feel incredibly lucky to be at exactly the right place in Silicon Valley, at exactly the right time historically where this invention has taken form.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Techendo. I'm Dan. This is episode number 2. And let me introduce our guest. This is Tim Jarratt.
Hi.
This is Laura Kelso.
Hello.
And David Kelso.
Hi there.
We're going to talk about technology and other fun stuff. So stay tuned right after these messages. I'm just kidding. We have no sponsors. Sponsor us. This episode is brought to you by Tecate.
The Prince of Beers.
Let's talk about when we all first moved to San Francisco and we were looking for jobs. We knew nothing about the place, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
I was born and raised here, actually.
You are full of shit.
Your accent gives you away.
Yeah, this is a authentic San
Water.
Francisco accent.
Do you have water?
You'd know if you grew up here.
Water.
This is how we really talk.
Water. So we moved to San Francisco and we knew nothing.
We were literally babies.
I was.
Knew no one.
I sold my car.
Are you native?
I mean, I didn't grow up in San Francisco, but very close by. Yeah.
Bay Area native?
Yeah.
So
Does that count?
What's that?
Does that count as being native?
I mean, not really. I mean, I still had to move to San Francisco for the first time.
Okay, so we moved. I sold my car. I had like $5,000 on me when I moved here. And hope. A heart full of hope.
A dream.
It's about
And
2008.
Yeah.
Obama.
Yeah.
And
One hopeful young man, a dream, a moped, and
A knapsack.
yeah, and a pink mohawk.
and I, went to various places around San Francisco looking for a place to stay, and had to send out like 200 Craigslist applications for a room.
Did you get a temporary place or?
I did get a temporary place. It was a room with 2 guys in Inner Sunset.
Did they give you a real bed?
I did have a real bed.
I didn't have a real bed.
Oh, really?
Wow.
No. I was promised a real bed.
Okay.
And then I got very not a real
So
bed.
let's go down the line. Let's go down the line here. Tell us your story.
I had no credit, no anything. It was
Foreigner.
impossible to get. Yeah, it's impossible to get a place. I applied for a couple of spots. Me and 20 other people in line, and they basically just threw my application out. They said no chance.
What year was this?
2007. So I lived in a hostel, and then I was there for 3 months, and then I lived in an SRO for another 6 months, and then finally I lucked. I spent that whole time looking for a place.
What's an SRO?
Single room occupancy, like single room hotels.
Okay.
They're crack dens. They're awful places, but they're cheap, relatively. And
You share a
crack.
bathroom.
yeah. Well, and easy access to crack, which is, I mean, it really helps.
Bonus.
I mean, that freed up hours every day to go and look for apartments instead. And no, but then I lucked upon a guy who was sub-leasing a room who was, an awesome dude. And hi, Eric. And thanks for the room. Yeah, couldn't have done it without you.
So what about your first job? How did you find your first job here?
Well, I was working on startups. I met a guy in the hostel that I turned up at. Hi, Sally. Hey. And we
You have to
started
look
working
at
on
this
stuff.
one if you're going to do shout-outs. It's this one.
That's
Hi, this is a shout out, Cam.
Okay.
Shout out,
Skin.
Cam.
Yeah. And he's killing it right now. He lives in Mountain View working on Elastic. I pimped his startup last week, actually.
Nice.
Very cool.
So,
Very cool.
Nice.
I moved here in 2010, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I came from Washington, D.C., and I actually interviewed for PR firms from D.C. and did Skype interviews, and met a lot of PR firms that wouldn't even interview me until I was here, and got really lucky, and that one of them wanted to give me a job, Bateman Group, before I got here, 2 weeks before I bought my one-way plane ticket. And then I got here and I got promised a room for 2 weeks, so I rented it, paid $400 for this shitty room, and it turns out they gave me like a bed out of a pull-out couch, and I lived in a pantry.
You literally lived in a pantry?
Yeah, they said it was a bedroom, and they were like, yeah, we got a bed, and I'm like, here's a bedroom for $400 for 3 weeks, and I got there, and it was a pantry off the kitchen.
That's still a pretty good deal for a pantry, though.
So
yeah.
was it a real
$400
bed?
That's
It's
awesome.
a steal.
No, I know, in long run, but yeah, except I lived in a pantry,
Yeah.
in a place where no one cleaned the counters ever.
Were there people like going in there like, could you pass me the beans?
Well, this guy that lived there was from Cal State, but he didn't graduate, and just he tutored down at the coffee shop on the corner,
Nice.
and it was awful.
You want to give a shout out to your tutor from college?
I don't even know what his name is.
Hi, random stranger.
Hey, random stranger.
Shout out.
At Cal State, at Fillmore and Haight. Hey.
Oh my
Your
god.
Facebook quarantine will be watching this.
No, he's not. I don't know what his name was. I actually blocked him on GChat. Hey, stranger.
That cam.
I did. I went there.
This
there.
cam.
Yeah. Hey, stranger. But yeah, so then I moved out quickly. And that was
Cool.
it.
But you signed a lease, right, for your first place?
Yeah, my roommate had found the place on Craigslist before I even got there. Met her on Craigslist. I put a wanted ad up saying how awesome I was. 'Cause I'm awesome. And then she contacted me. Was like, hey dude, I want to live with you. And I was like, sweet, I won't be there for 2 weeks. And she like ran down to an ATM and signed a $500 check and got
Yeah, Tim, tell us your story.
Yeah, so I thought I had a really good experience, but I mean, it doesn't really compare to that at all.
Did you not live with that Cal State weirdo?
No, but I lived on the same block, I think. I was at Haight and Fillmore. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Does
so
everybody just come here and live there?
I think so. It's like the first like neighborhood you
Dumping
get
ground?
into. Yeah. So I didn't find the place, but my girlfriend at the time, Jen, she was living there, and so I just dropped out of college and like, I'll move to the city and I'll find a job, right? Sort of thing like everyone does at some point, like, oh, it'll work out. So it was a nice neighborhood, but it was really loud. There were like a lot of people outside all the time, like horns blaring from buses, hobos like yelling at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Horns blaring from hobos.
Yeah.
I love hobos.
Yeah, hobos blaring off of the buses. It's a very, very weird neighborhood. And so I was there on Craigslist all day, just like, I would like to have a job. Please let me show you how competent I am. Like for like 8 hours a day.
In Crayola.
In Crayola. And like the R's are
You took
backwards.
pictures of it?
Yeah.
He's got the big Crayola and like one eye closed and his
Yeah.
tongue sticking out.
I would fax
It
it.
took more work.
Yeah, I would fax it down to the cafe and then go to the cafe and have my Falcon deliver it to the actual person.
Glitter glue gun.
And then finally I found a job after like, I don't know, like maybe 3 or 4 months, like some small company, shout out to IT on Systems.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Woo!
They took a risk on me and I worked there for a year before going to
and
Apple.
regret
so-
it now.
Yeah.
Absolutely regret it.
Absolutely regret it. They really missed out.
Yeah.
3 or 4 months, really?
Yeah, it's very hard.
How old were you?
I was like 22, 23.
So you're
Yeah.
fresh out of college?
Fresh out of college.
So you felt like you had to prove yourself?
I mean, I had already had like work at the university.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's really hard when you have like nothing to draw upon. Like I didn't have a GitHub profile. I didn't
Right.
have
Yeah.
any open source projects I'd worked on.
So how do you prove yourself as a developer? That's actually
So what I did was I spent
I
a
think Dan
month.
knows.
I spent a month like burning through the cash I had and coding,
Right.
and I build my own projects, right? And
Yep.
that to me is actually how I hire people. Is if they have side projects that they're passionate about and they want to talk about that and they're interested and it looks cool. I think that shows a lot more to me than anything that someone was paid to do, in my opinion, right? Especially if like you're gonna need that person to love their job.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
what if someone doesn't have that luxury? You know, especially if you come to San Francisco.
Right.
And rent is so high.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's like so much time during the day. Like, what are you doing if you're not like applying for jobs and like, eating?
right.
What else do you have to do other than work on something that you're passionate about?
Yeah.
I think that's Dan's point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Hang out in Dolores Park. I do that now.
Yeah, look for your doppelgangers.
Well, I mean, whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm not.
So what
I'm not a
advice-
coder by
Yeah.
default. So I came here and whatever. I had to still get a job.
So how do you do that in PR? Like, how do you prove yourself? I mean, how did?
Well, that's what I'm asking. So I had to prove myself by doing my job the first time,
Mm-hmm.
but they hired a college grad out of the gate. But they were lucky to get me, Blakey and Agnew. And but whatevs. You prove yourself in the job and you do the shit. But how do you make the same risk that every other employer does, just hiring a grad right out of college who knows how to code, or
I
mean, you learn by experience regardless. PR is learned by experience. I don't think anyone that comes out with a communications major is a great PR person, because that's not how it works.
I think for me, it's someone who's been just coding for a while. Like, I started coding when I was 10.
Right.
And, like, I could talk the talk and walk the walk. Like, that's super important to me. Like, if somebody mentions IRC, there are, like, hints that people drop that you're like, okay, like, this is a legit guy, right? Or girl. And it clicks. When it clicks, right?
So the interview matters.
Right, and it depends on what kind of level you're hiring at. If like you're a new startup, you want somebody who's kind of well-rounded, and but as you grow, you need people that take on more specialized roles.
Yeah.
So you start hiring more and more to that level of expertise. Anyway, so what tips would you have for people who are looking to move to San Francisco and are looking for tech jobs or like places to live?
Oh, there's a ton of things you can do. First of all, I mean, if you're thinking about moving to San Francisco, there's lots of opportunities to look at the neighborhoods that are really affordable and are also decent to live in. You can use PadMapper and also use Google Maps to look and see what different neighborhoods look like in terms of pricing, the type of people that are out there during the day, you know, like what the car situation is like, if there's parking, if there's not parking, just to see like where can you live and what does it look like. You can use San Francisco's police department maps to see what kind of crimes occur in different areas. So, I mean, the Tenderloin looks like a great deal, right? You know, you can get a place for like $500 a month, but then, you know, there's crime there.
You don't want to live anywhere in the Tenderloin that costs $500 a month, FYI listeners.
Yeah.
We actually, so I made a very big mistake when hiring an engineer who moved here from Colorado, or was trying to move here from Colorado, and he was dropped in the mission, and the mission isn't bad. It exists kind of this.
It
has good and bad parts.
Yeah, so there's people like us, and then there's like there's a rough crowd, right? And so on the surface it looks kind of rough, but it's definitely like livable. I love living.
Livable.
Everyone stay away from the mission
carry
so
a
I can
knife.
have it.
Yeah.
And I'm a husky dude. I forgot where I was going with this.
Hey, husky dude,
Yeah.
do you want to grab me a beer?
Yeah, I'll grab you.
The Duke of Beers.
What?
Thanks.
This beer brought to you by my fridge.
Sponsored by Pasta Systems, actually.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
case.
So
on that topic.
So the engineer came here, experienced this kind of rough neighborhood, and was like, I don't feel comfortable hanging out here. I'm gonna go get a hotel. Because he was
He
sleeping.
came to your house?
He was sleeping on our couch.
He was sleeping
You
on this
hired an
couch.
engineer and he's
Well, we brought him out here to see if he was a good
From
cultural
India?
fit.
Colorado.
No, Colorado.
Oh,
Very
similar.
worse.
Very similar.
Almost.
Kidding.
Easy mistake.
And he was sleeping on our couch and was like, I'm going to go get a hotel room, and was kind of already sketched out about this area. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, I found a great deal on a hotel in San Francisco.
An SRO.
And
Hotel Royan.
that sentence should never exist. There are no great deals on hotels in San Francisco that you want to stay at.
Loin?
He ends up staying in the Tenderloin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Out of the
Needless
frying
to
pan
say-
into the fire.
He left and
Yeah.
did not want to come back to San Francisco ever again.
Okay, so on that topic, what would you think about someone who wants to stay at an Airbnb if they want to move to San Francisco?
Yeah, there's
I
a
think
great
that's
Airbnb.
A great idea.
Would you
Since summer.
recommend someone do that if
I-
they want to
Yes, of
get
course.
into the San Francisco?
Absolutely. I know plenty of people that have rented out Airbnbs, and it's actually turned into leases for them.
Yeah,
They've
Oh, wow.
actually found places to stay. They've taken over leases from previous tenants. So I think that's probably the best option for someone who's looking to explore the city, meet people quickly, and find an okay place to live.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we want to Airbnb out our second room, and I think, I don't want to handhold people when they come here, but I'm happy to tell them where they should go and have a good place for them to stay. And things are so expensive here. I think Airbnb is a good way to at least get a good starting ground, and somebody else has vetted them as well.
Yeah.
Are you plugging your second room right now?
Yes, it's no, I'm just kidding. I don't have a website for it yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think
Airbnb.com
slash pasta.
/ pasta.
No.
No, I'm kidding.
I think Laura says a good point too about the wanted ads. You know, I think a lot of rooms, because there is such huge demand here compared to supply, a lot of rooms just never even make it up onto Craigslist. And I know for me, like, we went and looked at the wanted ads well before we put our ad up, and we, you know, a lot of rooms are placed through friends, a lot of rooms are placed through like email lists. No. By the time a room makes it up on Craigslist, you're in the last quarter of rooms that were ever even offered. So you know, definitely, you know, pound the ground, let everyone know that you're looking for a room. Make sure you like email your friends in San Francisco or whatever. Yeah. And if you don't know anyone here, put up a wanted ad on Craigslist, because that will open up double the number of rooms that you have if you just are browsing.
Oh, that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah. Friends, make friends, because that's where I've personally found all of my places. Yep. Just those
Apart
are
from
all
my first place, everything has come pretty much through knowing
word of
someone.
mouth. Yeah.
Definitely pays to know people.
And all my housemates. So when I used to live in Full House, and we were filling a room every every 3 months. Yeah. No, it was on 21st and Folsom.
You actually lived in Full House.
Yeah.
How are the twins? Do they have the cut it out crew thing?
Yeah.
No.
Jesse,
I will blur that out.
Jesse's always like on the motorcycle.
Yeah. We did have an Uncle Joey actually at Full House.
With the woodchuck?
Sure, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention half the time.
Stamos was where it was really at. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, so we spent a lot of time filling rooms there, and we, you know, it was always through friends. I would say, of the...
What are you guys giggling about?
Filling rooms? Ability to drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are cut off.
Yeah.
You guys are cut off. No, continue.
Tecate,
And then,
the beers.
The beer of choking.
Tecate, the beer of Techendo.
Whoa.
Whoa.
The beer of I can't believe this is on sale.
It was $9.99. Anyways.
The beer of cheapest per fluid ounces that isn't Steel Reserve.
Yeah.
So did you move here in 2007?
Yes.
Did you have the experience then that it was as hard to find a place as it is now?
Yes, it was.
Because I found my place in like 2007, 2008.
2008 is different.
It's not like, it's not amazing, but like it was on Craigslist for 3 months before I got it, and I was the only person who actually came to look at it. And it's like in a nice part of the DuBose Triangle. Yeah. So I don't get it.
That's where I
But
live,
to be fair, there's been multiple murders.
Where do you live?
On DuBose. At Market.
Oh, yeah.
Committed by Tim.
Don't go rob me.
Their walls are full of corpses.
I lived at 15th and Castor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's further up.
A little bit up.
It's on a burial ground.
Yeah. I'm like...
I love that neighborhood.
I look out the window
so
and I see
good.
the mint.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the neighborhood. It's very nice.
Okay, so...
I always tell people that...
Anyone have anything else to add on this topic before we continue?
You should tell us to
words
fuck off.
of advice?
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, self-driving cars. Let's hear about the Google experience of self-driving cars.
Have you guys seen one of these things?
I mean, like on the video, yeah.
Okay. Have you seen one in person?
I haven't seen one in person.
I haven't seen one in person. I was hoping someone...
Wait, was that maybe a self-driving car that we saw the other day? Or was that a Google Maps car?
Was it going around the roundabout over and over and over?
Stuck.
Was someone ghost riding their whip?
Yeah, the dude actually opened the door and jumped out and tumbled and ran away, and it exploded.
No, we got really excited because we thought we were going to be on Google Maps.
Yeah.
So I'm not. He's asking
So
if that was a self-driving car, but I don't think.
It might be.
I don't think they're driving it.
They have that thing on top.
Yeah,
with the big thing. Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah, it's spinning.
Yeah.
Then it definitely was.
Oh,
Yeah, we
so
did
we're
see
not
one.
going to be on the maps.
Nah.
Yeah. I mean, they might be doing both of them now.
Yeah.
If you have,
No,
They might
I mean
be self-driving the Google Maps cars.
Yeah. Totally.
Oh,
Why not?
that's pretty clever.
Yeah.
That would be right. So I guess we have seen one. It didn't hit me.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
But it followed you home and knows where you live now.
Yeah, anecdotal evidence, but still very interesting.
Well, what else? I think there's a lot of bad drivers out there, and I think all of us would be much happier people if we could take our little nubs out on the highway and get to where we need to go and be driven there. So
I would say that it might be an awesome idea to ban cars that aren't self-driving cars in the city.
Oh no, I was
Can
going to
we
say
retrofit them?
I was going to go all the way, and I was going to say we should ban cars completely.
So
Yeah,
I
let's
agree,
retrofit
but I
them.
think the step would be self-driving cars. Because I mean, what's the problem with self-driving cars?
I mean,
Nothing.
the problem with self-driving cars is that they're still evil. They're still burning fossil fuel.
Well,
That-
the problem with self-driving cars is that there's
It's gonna-
still
it's
other
gonna encourage
people
more
driving cars around us.
It's going to encourage more people to drive cars that are currently taking public transportation
No,
or
not
biking.
if they're all hooked up to a system where they get on a
But
rail.
where do you think public
and they
transportation
need to
gets its
plug
energy
into
from?
the power
Burning
source.
coal somewhere.
It's still more efficient than, and it's not necessarily cool. It depends on where you're at.
Okay.
But I mean,
Children's tears.
children's tears are an amazing renewable resource.
You know what? They're just so combustible.
Yeah.
So highly
And
combustible.
they're so sweet. They're so sweet.
To me, it's
I rub
like
them on my gums every night.
to me, it's like making a public transportation system that's your own personal car that you just fucking get on when there's space
Yeah.
to get on, and that's awesome, and that's all I need. Like, if there's stops that you have to get off, and then you have to go back around, and then maybe you self-drive, I don't know. But if you live close to those stops that are self-driving anyways...
It would just
I
be
don't
like a
care.
taxi with no driver. Really, is ultimately what it would be.
It's so easy to do. Like, we all take these main routes anyways, and we all get on them and get off them and whatevs.
I mean, is that better than like riding like a bus to work with a bunch of people that you work with?
Yes, it is. It's exactly better than riding a bus because you can create your own time when you leave
Yeah.
and you get on the system.
Mm-hmm.
And then nobody is crashing into me, which I love.
Or trying to stab you.
Or trying to stab you,
What
or
kind of
driving
buses
like
are you
an
guys
idiot.
on going to your
The 14.
Oh, the 14. Oh, no, I meant like company shuttles.
Pretty
like,
much.
Yeah.
Google and Apple and Facebook.
Okay, so,
Yeah, except I don't work for Google or Apple, and I
Yeah.
don't want to.
Okay.
Hey, Google or Apple, hire me.
so no, the reason that I am pumped about self-driving cars is because I think it's insane that we allow people to park on the street in a city as dense as San Francisco.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
I think that
Really
and a controversial topic right here, but everyone was flipping out a couple months ago when they started metering on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I think
I love that.
It's
I think
God's
it's great.
Day, though.
Yeah, well, that's
I
true.
thought it was Saturday.
But
Alright.
but okay,
Depends on who you ask.
if I was gonna go and store a couch on the street, and all I had to do was move it for street cleaning once a week, people would flip their shit. I have to pay if I want to go store a couch somewhere. I got to go pay for storage. Now I think that
Oh, and there's like no permitted like parking, right? Because like
for couches,
Yeah, no, for cars. For cars.
there's still permanent parking. Yeah, I mean you're in a permit area here,
Yeah,
and
okay.
all that means is basically you don't have to.
But you're paying like a monthly or yearly, permit in that case.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
but even so, I mean that's pretty much they're $50-$60. They're nothing, right? They're nothing
Okay.
compared to
Yeah.
the actual cost of storage space. Like, okay, let's say for the size, I have a storage locker on 16th and Bryant, and it's the size of a size of a very small car,
Yeah.
and it costs me $100 a month.
So is this a plug for that company? A shout out?
No, I'm not going to even mention their name.
Because I hate
Yeah, because they were mentoring me for bringing all the
No, but
dust
like
in
a
post-spending
storage
money.
space is
So,
$30,000
okay.
to $50,000 a year
Okay, so what-
slash 100.
Okay, so what is your solution to that? Is it the problem is that people are leaving their cars out all the time?
So
Would you
they
like
don't
something?
need cars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Hold
my
on,
point.
no.
That people don't need cars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I think this, right? Like, if at the moment people want a parking space right out front of their house, and that's why, and a lot of the decisions that get made in the city, like the train line out Geary was getting argued against because it's like, oh, it's going to remove parking spaces. Now, self-driving cars are pretty much going to eliminate the need for parking spaces. You won't care about having a parking space directly out front of your place because let's say the city can go and build a parking
Massive
structure,
Yeah.
one per neighborhood.
Like
and all
that
you got to
thing
do
that we
is,
all have to sit in and wait out the metro for.
And
Because
And
we're full
it
of
would
cars.
drive right to your house.
well, that's it, right? So you go, you hit two buttons on your phone, and then 30 seconds later, the car's at your front
So
door. So
are-
you don't
are-
care about parking anymore.
Are the laws for self-driving cars going to allow them to drive when someone's not in them?
I don't know enough
Because
about the
I think
laws.
was it Utah or the other like neighboring state that passed the first state in the union to pass the law saying that driverless cars or self-driving cars were legal. I think they had a provision for cars that had to have someone in them.
Right.
That's
Well, they're
interesting.
legal in California, but I don't know about whether they have to have a person in them or not.
Yeah.
You
so
know,
that's the thing.
The only thing that I think that would affect would be shipping, or someone's pushing back. Like
Right.
that makes no sense.
I like the
Right?
idea of
I mean,
having to have being
unless there's
able to have-
accountability. But
like-
if you're in the car and it's self-driving, then you're not accountable anyway. So what does it matter if someone's in it or
I
not?
like
no,
the
I disagree.
idea
I
of
think you are
being able to
accountable.
have.
I think you still will be accountable. For
But if
that.
I'm in the back seat and there's no steering wheel, and it's driving me to my
But like,
destination, how am I
if you live in a house, like let's make a metaphor here. If you live in a house and you have a gun in there, and you're in the bathroom taking a crap, and someone like
done that before.
Someone sneaks in and takes your gun and shoots someone else, or someone gets hurt. Aren't you responsible for what happened because you own that gun?
No, I'm not actually. No.
Really?
So no, I
You
still
are
like
not.
it.
If somebody steals your gun
Within
and
your
then
house while
kills
you're there.
someone, you're not responsible for that. Someone stole your gun. You should file a police report. And
What if like your little kid gets into the gun safe and shoots someone? You're still not responsible for that, even though it is your gun and your license.
So if my little kid did that,
Yeah.
I would be like, don't do that again.
Stop killing little
And
Jimmy.
then we would hide the body,
Hey, dude. Hey,
and
little
no one
dude,
would be
stop
the wiser.
killing.
Yeah, so
Like,
it wouldn't
that's-
be a big deal.
You know,
Okay.
I've seen Breaking Bad. I know how to dispose of a body.
All right. Well, at least
Hold on. Don't like bring up the topic of buying chemicals online. 'Cause I don't want that to become an issue.
Silk
for me.
Road. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
We'll have another anonymous
Yeah.
note here soon.
Please
I
don't.
believe it's the Wool Boulevard.
Yeah.
What else? I still like the idea of having your own private self-driving car, though. I don't want to discount the public idea because I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But if you can still take up your public car and say, "Hey, poor people waiting in line for the public self-driving cars,"
You just
fuck
called
you.
poor people
I'm
out.
gonna,
Yeah.
I want to still allow the rich people to enjoy the self-driving car because that's the only way it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm.
Yeah.
This is all staying in, by the way.
So counterpoint. Services.
I did not say it. I did not say any of
Just
that.
like a turn, just like an on ramp.
And she's a girl, so no one's gonna say shit.
Just like an on ramp for a highway, like whatevs. I'm gonna get on.
Dig up.
Yeah.
While you're waiting.
Digging deeper and deeper.
Do we need
deeper,
another
deeper.
beer? Do you need
Yeah.
Is it beer time?
While you're waiting, poor people, I'm gonna get on in my private
yeah.
self-driving car. I think that you still.
Well, yeah.
Are you gonna yell that at them as you're driving past them?
I
mean, you'll have
not,
both
not,
your
dri-
hands-
not driving.
Well, yeah, being driven. You'll have both your hands free to lean out the window and
Wait,
you
for
know,
the
yell too.
record, I would be in the poor people line.
Oh, yeah.
You just want to have the right to be able to be yelled at by the rich people driving past, not driving past in their own.
No, because you want that hope. You want that hope one day. You're like, that'll be me one day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yelling at
Yelling.
people
You
like
gotta
you.
you gotta strive for something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Upward mobility.
Poor people.
So this class war brought to you by Tecate.
Hey, Dan, does red mean it's clipping?
Doesn't matter. I'll fix it in post.
Okay. Go.
Mm.
Good talk.
Good talk. Wait, is it clipping? Yeah. Check. Yeah, that means it's clipping.
Yeah,
What does that
it
mean?
definitely it was clipping when we opened beers and whatnot. So
Okay, you should just scooch over.
I just did it a bunch.
Towards you.
A little.
Yeah,
If it clips, I'll throw a limiter on it.
okay.
there you go.
This man knows what he's doing.
So, any other
Any
Poor
other things
people.
to say about poor people?
yeah. Any other self-incriminating statements to say? Self-driving cars. We just talked about
I think we
self-driving
covered
cars.
it.
Covered all the problems right there.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Is it conferences or hackathon? No. The resurgence of IRC. Yay!
Yeah. Everyone loves IRC now.
Hash Techendo.
Yeah.
On Freenode.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Shit.
So
It's fine,
for
it's
everyone
fine.
that doesn't know what IRC is, it's called Internet Relay Chat.
It's
What?
old. It's old school.
It's older than probably we are, in fact, right?
Well, definitely older than I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 12, so it's older than me.
You're turning 13 this month, right?
I'll be legal.
Yeah.
And which state?
Just
I'll-
me
go
and
online.
Tim's. Me and Tim's.
Provide his.
Our private
Yeah.
state we
Okay.
have. Yeah.
Old enough to die.
The state of Techendo.
So, IRC, there is no... The resurgence of IRC,
Internet relay chat.
yes, and it is a chat program where...
Why don't you tell us about it, Laura?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off. I don't know anything about it.
We all know Laura uses IRC all
I
day,
just
every
read
day.
it. I just read it over David's shoulder. I actually know nothing about it.
Yeah, so Internet Relay Chat is basically like a chat program where you join rooms that are called channels, and you can find pretty much anything from help from programming to just general chat to weird stuff All you furry fans out there.
Yeah.
Heyo.
Shout out to my furry fans.
No, but I mean, there are channels for everything. If you want a channel for gardening, I mean, there's
Right.
probably like Pound Gardening on Freeload, right?
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just a
Yeah.
huge
Off
segment
the
of
hook.
IRC users.
Yeah.
Gardening.
That's a channel I'm trying to bring up with all my aunts.
Gardening, pound
Yeah.
tulips.
When I was
Pound tulips every day for sure.
when I was getting into hacking and freaking back in the day, I think IRC was an amazing resource for.
Speaking of hacking and freaking
Again, yeah.
again.
Yeah. Always freaking.
Well, that's how I got into IRC.
All right. Yeah.
So I got into IRC, and then there were.
Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Yeah. Don't let it stop you.
What is happening?
Keep going. We're
I
having
will
a
edit
moment.
all of this out.
You're hacking and freaking. Go on.
Continue.
Okay, back when I was programming and wanted to learn more, I would get on IRC, and there were other kids my age
What?
that were into the same scene. So like Sean Parker, Sean Fanning, the Napster guys were like just
Yeah,
one
that's
degree
huge.
of separation, and that's where pretty much all the product development happened back in the day. At least all the technical product development that was underground or cool or new.
Yeah.
It was the first real social network.
It was. It was.
Well, no, that's not true. What about BBSs?
That's true.
BBMs.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first social network that I was involved in, that's for sure.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
So the
a
first
lot of-
one that mattered.
A lot of people got into IRC because, I mean, it's not an application, right? It's a protocol. So there's tons of ways of reaching it.
Yeah.
Which is really the beauty of it. There's not just one way in. And it's available everywhere. There are mobile clients, there are web clients, there's native clients. It's great. You know, wherever you're at, you can go and talk with people, talk about gardening, talk about tech,
Tulips.
you know, find help. Yeah, tulips.
Yeah.
So the resurgence of IRC. IRC for a long time lost a lot of its users.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone was
Did-
going to MySpace and
Yeah, because of
Friendster,
social networks.
Yeah, Facebook.
But I think one of the things you're seeing now is that it's forming around. Beforehand, it was forming around communities. Now it's forming around topics. You know, like people who, just like you said, like gardening. You know, like once upon a time that wouldn't have been a channel, but now it's feasible.
It's huge. We have upwards of 2 people on the channel.
Oh, are you
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it?
What
Are
is
you
Chan
on it?
Serve?
Yeah. Chan Serve and T Jarratt.
Hey, why don't
Channel's
you?
off the hook. The
why don't you-
conversations that happen in there. Man.
So wait, why don't you guys explain how you get on IRC? Because it's not like Digsby. It's not like something you can go download and.
Yeah, it
I
is.
mean,
It is
explain to
something
me
you
about
download.
Digsby.
Well, it's just another IM client. So.
Well, it is essentially like an IM client. It is something you download, you connect to a server, and then you just join a room.
How do you
Yeah,
join?
but, like,
Hold
how
on.
do you
Let's
get
actually.
it?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple ways of doing it, right? It's a protocol. So
okay.
how do you join IRC?
So I download a program. So I use a Mac, as you should as well, if you're cool. Called Colloquy. Colloquy, is that how you pronounce that?
Colloquy.
Colloquy.
Colloquy?
Sure.
No,
let's-
man,
let's
we're all-
I
go.
planted the
wrong.
seed of doubt.
Yeah.
So it's a, you know,
I haven't said that out loud to anyone.
a
ever.
graphical
Colloquy.
I mean, it's a graphical user interface that you download and connect to, and you join a channel.
Via
So,
your internet browser.
no.
It's a native-
Okay, so you
See,
use
back
your
up.
internet browser to download this app. Do a search. Actually, the link is right here. And download that app, and then you can join our channel right here. And come talk to us. Like, hang out, and I'll explain the rest of the internet to you. If that's what you're into.
all of the internet.
Prepared to be shocked.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna start at the deep, dark,
Yeah.
crazy shit.
Starting at Lemon Party.
I am sorry.
We're starting at the very end of it.
Okay, so that's how you join IRC.
Yes.
So I spend all day in Emacs editing text files. for
Boo!
my
This
job.
is where editing boo.
And I literally hit MetaX FN-IRC Connect.
You lost me.
And yeah. So I mean, it's all integrated through my text editor. I just have a mode for one of my buffers that does it.
Right,
it
so
works.
you all have to do it from your text editor.
I mean,
Yeah,
I do.
he does.
I
Yeah,
do.
he does.
Yeah.
There's still many ways to connect.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure there's
It's
a
a
Vim.
service.
There's a Vim plugin for it, probably.
Okay.
There's probably a TextMate plugin.
Yep.
Just
Good
like there's.
slime.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
Probably
the
a Sublime
equivalent.
edit, yeah.
It's the equivalent of like a bunch of Twitter clients, right?
Yeah,
totally.
It's like
totally.
the service, right? But
Yeah.
you can connect to it however you want to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even more specifically, it's probably more like email and like Twitter. You're always connecting to Twitter, right? Even on IRC, you can connect to
different
whatever
servers.
server you want,
Yeah.
and every server can have a bunch of different channels on it. So
Yeah.
just like one of the biggest ones is Freenode, and there are a ton of others as well. But then companies can often run their own private and do run their own private IRC service.
Wasn't there a recent company that just started doing private hosted IRC?
Grove.
Yeah, that was.
They sold it.
Yeah, that was a really interesting company. I
It
used
was
them. I used them for a while.
Did you really?
Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, it was okay service, but it was really cool to actually see someone like making that part of their business model.
Yeah, and then they had a who was a girl?
They shut down recently, though, right?
They sold.
Were they a
sold
white seat
it.
company?
I thought they were.
It was the woman.
Yeah,
the
Leah
young-
Colville was doing
Yeah,
it, and
that's
it was
right.
with
Yeah.
and then they were doing a web chat thing as well. What was that
Convor.
called? Yeah.
And Convor was great.
Yeah, it was good.
And also, it had a very similar feel to IRC in that there were channels you could subscribe to. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything kind of an iteration or permutation of something that's come before it. So I think IRC was a huge influence on things that we're offering now, products we're offering now.
Definitely.
And so everyone knows that IRC was really big for a long time and then had a sort of decline.
Yeah.
Why do you guys think IRC is so big now?
Well, I don't think it is big.
I mean,
I think
Freenode
it's
is the only
growing.
one growing.
It's growing.
It's an important distinction. It's not big right now, but it is growing.
It is growing, and I
Okay.
think it's the immediacy of like a result, right? It's that real time interaction, and I think that's become really important lately.
Yep. Yeah.
So why is that better than a forum?
Because I don't want to wait for an answer.
Well, I know that, but forum software sucks, and I think we're starting to see. Well, Discourse is the first decent piece of forum software that's been released in 20 years. Well, not 20, but 10 years. And everything else
Definitely
before
better
that
than
was
BB Edit.
exactly right. It's like that's been the cutting edge. I would not sign up for forums beforehand. I think they're
And
awful.
yet I really listen to what forums say. Like, I
Yeah.
read their information
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, who contributes to this shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably
It's-
robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Techendo. We are about to talk about
Everything.
About God.
language of the week. Give us a language of the week.
So most of us are here are programmers, right? You guys,
I am a
you
programmer.
guys write a lot of code this week?
I'll
Yeah.
be honest. I kind of hung out in the park a lot.
Okay, but I mean, like when you're actually working, like you write some code, right?
I write some code when I'm
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
On
Okay,
occasion.
maybe it's just me, but I read a lot of code for
Okay.
my job.
I
yeah.
read something
Yeah.
for DeoCities.
Okay, so what language is that in?
Yahoo.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, that is a great language.
Yeah.
Yahoo is the language of the week.
Yeah, it definitely is Turing complete. Yeah. So David, what were you writing this week?
Just Haskell. I only write Haskell.
You only
Haskell
write-
for life.
Yeah.
I
That's funny because I also I was looking at languages like I needed something that had like good runtime performance and it was compilable.
Yeah, and you needed like
I wanted to be
type.
pure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and definitely guarantees of like lazy evaluation and all that. So I mean, all I did was write Haskell this week. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Like this entire show is recorded using a program that was written in Haskell. I wrote it myself.
Techendo.
Techendo Haskell, and I love
Check
it.
for it on GitHub.
I love it.
GitHub link will be right here. Yeah.
GitHub.
Yeah.
Wait.
So, do we all
Yeah.
agree that Haskell might be the language of the week? I'll add some effects to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I
And-
brought sparkly fingers to it. Help.
Okay,
Thanks,
so we
guys.
all agree. Language. Haskell. Welcome.
And goodbye?
Okay, next up is
No.
conferences and hackathons.
Woo! Let's get excited.
This is a very, very polarizing topic for all of us. We all have differing opinions, and you are about to sit through them. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You've unlocked the next level.
Retardedness. I mean, mental challenge.
You can't say
Right.
either
I know.
one of those. This is American television.
Yeah. This is
Cut-
not television.
Cut it up.
This is why we
Wait,
have
hold
no
on. The
sponsors.
internet is not American.
Okay, you're right.
Okay.
It's for everyone.
No, but were there any good conferences this week? It was
Well-
South by.
Well, South
What's
by
South
is
by?
now.
South by Southwest.
Okay, let's,
It's
is
North
that-
by Northwest would be really
wait,
cool.
let's start out. Launch. Launch happened this week.
Launch
and
happened,
that
yeah.
is
Unfortunately, it did. Yeah.
who throws
Jason
launch?
Kalinakis.
Jason Galifianakis.
Jason Galifianakis.
Yeah.
Yep. So he does Between Two Ferns.
You probably
Between two VCs.
Okay.
Yeah.
You probably
So,
know his brother. Actually.
Whatever. He used to do TechCrunch 50.
Okay.
So he's done a lot of conferences.
He did do
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Did he? What's his background? Did he do?
Nothing. He did
journalist?
nothing.
He just throws events.
He did a little bit
Wow.
more than I did.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Okay, harsh, but yeah.
Very negative atmosphere right now.
I mean, he
Well, I don't know, so I'm learning.
Yeah, I
he
don't know
built
the
a
guy.
personality for himself. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And he definitely brought up people for this conference, but he also brought up 5,000 people, of which I think 95% of them did not pay to go to the conference.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I don't think there is.
I
Does
don't
that
think there's
matter?
anything wrong with that either, but yeah.
I do have a problem with conferences that are startup focused that make you pay $3,000 to go to them.
Well,
think
I mean, why
ridiculous. Like-
pretend that you have to pay for them now?
Well,
You know, 'cause
I
there
don't
is-
know.
Well, because it's like exclusivity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, or
I
people
mean, fabricated or
Well, you want people that are actually going there want to be there, and that
Yeah.
they're going to get something value out of it.
Well,
And if
and
something
yeah.
is free, it has literally no value. Right?
Well, and the people
Because
who
they're
got it
giving
for
it
free
away.
had to have at least some form of connection.
Yeah.
If you were in Idaho and decided you wanted to go to launch and you had nothing to do with the tech scene, sorry Idaho.
I was an
you had-
Idaho
yeah, also Idaho. But yeah, if you if you wanted to come and had nothing to do with tech, then you had to pay, and I think that's fine.
That's
you know,
true.
and
But
I
that's
got
like a
offered.
tax on poor people, though.
It's not a tax on poor people; it's a tax on people unconnected to the industry.
Like with
Right.
the cars.
Right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Okay.
you
so they feed on newbies.
yeah, well, so
Basically.
but I mean, not necessarily. It just sets a little barrier to it. In fact, it's quite inclusive. It basically says anyone's allowed to come.
Who
It's
lives
not-
in San Francisco?
No, because you can come if you're happy to pay.
Mhm.
You can live anywhere, and if you're happy
But
to
if
pay.
you live here and you're in the network, then you
Yeah.
get to come for free.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's any problem with that because it says that it's basically saying, okay, we want a certain caliber of person at our conference, and you're gonna say anyone's allowed to come, but if
Yeah.
you don't have any sort of connection, well then sorry, you have to pay. I don't see any problem with that.
No, I don't see any problem with that either. But I
So-
also think that
So let's get to launch.
what?
Who went to launch?
Yeah,
We did.
we did.
You went to launch.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a free ticket.
How?
I got 3 free tickets.
I
Yeah.
got 3
Yeah.
free tickets.
Yeah, free tickets.
Free tickets.
Trinkets? Did I get my out trinkets then?
Yeah.
Were they free?
Shiny
I
bubbles.
love you. Oh, fuckface.
So how was it?
We're married.
What was your experience?
Awful. No, I'm just kidding. It was fine. I watched some people pitch awkwardly on stage, and that was like cringe-worthy.
Were they new to pitching?
No, they weren't. There was some people that were
Some
very
really new.
experienced
Some that were experienced,
entrepreneurs.
definitely. Yeah.
But they were all cringeworthy?
The majority
no,
were.
not all, yeah,
I mean-
most of them were.
Okay.
Did any projects stand out? So
Well, Trip
what
Teams
happened
did.
with launch was had a hackathon before
Right.
the conference, and what hackathons are, they are programmers, designers, business people who get together and try to create an idea and build it within a weekend or a couple of days, and they're fed food and kind of given alcohol, whatever helps fuel their creativity.
Some sort of
And-
space and environment where people are all working,
Right, and so they come
collaborating.
together as a group, they find partners, and at the end of it, people pick kind of the best product or most innovative product.
Yeah.
And at launch, what they did was they fed the hackathon finalists into launch to pitch their project that they built, right? Is that correct?
Oh
Yeah.
no, it's separate. It was a separate thing.
No, it's totally separate.
Oh,
It was a
It's
separate
totally
thing, but
separate.
they did give launch hackathon winners an opportunity to pitch. It was just one of the segments on the
Oh,
on the
okay.
festival.
They got
Wow.
their own
Yeah.
session.
okay, interesting.
Wow, okay.
So it was very different. And then, I mean,
What-
we were registered as hackathoners, right?
Mhm.
But we didn't actually hackathon. We just went to a conference.
Well, no,
Sorry,
I went to
Jason.
I think I
hackathon.
heard that.
I went to
And
hackathon.
He
and
went to the first day.
How was it? How was the hackathon?
Well, so I think the hackathon had some, some really bad things that I didn't like, and then some things I really did like.
How big was this hackathon?
It's the biggest one I've ever been to.
Okay, so what's your average hackathon size?
I mean, I've only been to, I'll say 3,
Okay, sure.
and they're usually around 100 people or whatever. And there were apparently 200 and something teams.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was.
Which,
I couldn't
mean-
find a seat. I literally walked in there and I could not find a seat with
Mind you,
power.
there's probably
And the-
like a 50% nutrition, right, for those teams.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think you'd be surprised too. There was so many
The
fucking
prizes
people
were
there.
big. It was a $75,000 grand prize, right?
Well, so
Cash?
Investment.
Oh, investment.
but there were cash prizes too. But this is I think one of the 2 things that Launch did wrong with their hackathon was the prizes were very big, and they were pre-announced, and a lot of them revolved around investment and whatever. So you had then people like competing, heavily and in secrecy and whatever for money instead of doing it for the spirit of the hackathon.
And they knew what the prizes were in advance.
Yeah.
Well, I think that might have been part of what fueled this problem, right?
So a lot of that was probably to bring people to the hackathon, right? Like a lot of
Yeah, but I
classic
think it also
hackathons-
worked against them in a way.
I mean, probably, but a lot of classic hackathons are about like, let's just get a bunch of people together who all want to be doing this,
So
and make something because it's fun to do that, right?
well, yeah. So this is the other thing that I think was the problem. There was they made you pre-register a team,
Yeah.
right? So
On the flip side, music hackathon day, what is it? The music hack day.
music hack day. Yeah.
That was,
What was that?
It was a couple weeks before. And like Spotify and RDO and SoundCloud, like these companies that are involved in music tech are all out there. And it's actually quite a pleasant experience. It's only one day. I haven't gone, but our friend went. He had a great time. Not to mention he worked throughout the night and made something that was pretty cool and won a prize. But I mean, having the companies there that are involved in that tech in there that are there being like, oh yeah, but don't even care if they use your tech. Like our friend won for something he didn't use the tech for, then of one of the other companies. In fact, the prize was given to him by a different company.
Because they thought it was cool.
They just thought it was cool, and it didn't
That's
involve their
cool.
tech at all.
That's
Then
really
again,
cool.
there were. I will say, like, I mean, you didn't come to the launch hackathon, so you don't have
That's
a
very
comparison.
egalitarian.
No, I don't.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, there were companies sponsoring the hackathon that I think did it perfectly. Like, they were there saying, hey, we have free accounts for anyone who wants to use our stuff.
Yeah.
They were giving out prizes depending on, like, the best use of their technology, but it wasn't specifically that. That, to me, felt much more like the spirit of the hackathon
Did
than...
they have like a developer evangelist over there with like,
Yep.
like if you had questions?
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
Well,
Yeah,
that's why
yeah,
you
so
hire
actually-
a developer evangelist, right? Like
Yeah.
that's where they should be.
Well, yeah, so James from Firebase was there, and
Oh.
he was there on the ground, like helping people out with stuff. I thought that was really good. I think that's a really good way
I'd like to talk about South by as the other big tech conference happening right now, right?
right now.
I think it's ramping up, right?
It's going on.
Yep.
Wait,
Sorry, the South by Tech is on right now over the
yeah,
weekend.
you're right,
The music
yeah.
starts on
So jumping
Monday,
forward,
Tuesday.
wrapping up right
Yeah.
now.
okay.
Yeah.
So the tech one, I've been a couple of times, and each time I go,
Oh, you should down that.
what?
It's way
The
too
head.
high.
The heads.
Oh, this.
Yeah.
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 Look at our beautiful heads.
Do you want
There
to
we
start that over again?
No, we're good. He's got this camera.
Yeah, I guess there's only one.
Go. All good.
All right.
And I've been a couple of times, and I just every time I go, it gets less and less interesting to me.
What was the first year you went?
3 years ago,
Okay.
So you went 3 years ago and what?
and then the next
Last
year.
year? And 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I didn't want to go back. It wasn't fun. I wasn't meeting great, cool people.
Did you buy a badge?
I did have a badge.
Was it work sponsored or did you pay for it yourself?
I paid for it myself every time because I actually what I would do was I would buy a badge and then say to work that I'm going to South by.
Right.
And I already bought a badge. So what can you do about it?
Right.
So I'd buy a badge and I'd go and I'd hang out, and I just didn't make awesome. I didn't meet awesome people. I didn't experience awesome
Well,
talks.
What did you do while you were there then?
I partied. Like,
Okay. So you had it sounds like you had a fun time though.
yeah, but I could have done that here. I could have done that here for cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, like that's.
You don't have to
No.
pay for
Well,
the
it's funny
the
because
flight.
I used to tell my clients to stop bothering to go there,
Mhm.
unless I work for a PR firm, so like unless you made a big marketing splash, what's the point? You have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to make a big marketing splash if you're gonna do guerrilla marketing or whatever the fuck you're gonna do. And we would get them into panels, and I've gotten a panel at South by Southwest, and that makes you feel really good because as a PR person, ooh, I felt good because I got it in, and it takes voting, and then you got through the panel and whatever. But unless you did grilled cheeses on the street,
Yeah.
I mean, did anybody know you were even there?
Right.
Yeah, or unless like you're literally building an Apple store that weekend, right?
And then it's just like running back and forth trying to find the coolest party is what it ends up being.
Find all the good
Yeah.
concerts.
I-
find all
Or
the-
like checking in, trying to get a badge and like
My
Yeah.
client asked me before he went the first time, and he's a PR manager for, a great startup in there in the clean tech space, and he said, "Hey, what do I do when I go to South by? Like, I've never gone to a conference. What kind of marketing should I do? Like, what should be my strategy?" And I was just like, "Party." Like, you're going there to party.
party on.
Yeah, party on.
But I think that might have been the best advice I
Party
ever
on
gave
South by.
him. You
Yeah,
know, it's
yeah.
just like,
Totally.
that's exactly what you do at South by.
Okay, I mean maybe I didn't party hard enough. Maybe.
Probably not.
Yeah.
No, I will
no
say-
offense to you, Dan. But you could always party hard.
I could always party.
I will say this. I think the longest streak I've ever done of just absolutely destroying myself and getting ridiculous and doing the most ridiculous shit night after night that I've done was South by 2 years ago. I had such a fucking good time.
Yeah.
Were you there by yourself, or did you go with friends, or what was it like?
No, I paid. Okay, so one thing I hate about South by is it's so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
That would be my one sole complaint about it, because I love it as an event. I love it as a crowd. I love it. I love everything about it. It's so expensive. I paid $200 a night to sleep on a floor in a hotel room that I shared with 8 people.
Yeah.
And fortunately it was a 2-room hotel room, and there
Thank
were
God.
3 double beds. So, but still, I mean, 2 of us had to sleep on the floor.
Yeah. Every night.
So I ended up I was offered a spot to like cycle into a bed, because we said, we'll take an intern sleeping in bed, and I was just like, fuck it, we'll take the floor every night. That's fine.
Alright.
Which was, I mean, it worked out, but it was, I mean, location was great. We were right downtown, which I really appreciated, because the previous time I'd been out of town.
$200 a night.
It was a
Are
lot
you
of money.
kidding?
That said,
Yeah.
I did get to stay the first 3 nights for free. Thanks, John Chavez. And, and that was good. But also, I think the other thing about South by is you're an idiot if you buy a badge. Sorry, Dan.
I learned that actually. I did learn that.
So the only things that you will want to go to that a badge is any benefit to, you can bribe your way into.
Yeah, I learned that as well.
And I don't.
Regret not buying a badge?
Well, I think there's no real downside to not buy. All the good parties that I went to didn't require a badge, and everything that did require a badge I didn't really want to go to, or you had to line up regardless of having a badge anyway.
Yeah.
My policy for South by is I never line up.
Yeah.
Because there's so much on all the time. Yeah, it might mean you miss out on some of the bigger stuff, and you might miss out on some of the, crazy whatever. But you know what? I had, I think, a way better time just bouncing from party to party. My first, until music got really started, probably Wednesday, I didn't pay for a drink. So I went, Saturday through Wednesday, and got absolutely shit-faced every night and didn't pay for a single drink the whole time.
Well, I think you should
So-
probably do a blog South by Southwest if you're not doing it right, and then you
But is it
fix
worth it? I mean, you could essentially do that here. I mean, what did you get out of it that was like, oh, I could only get that from South by?
Nothing.
What? Why? Why do you have to always get something out of it, right? I had a really great time partying for a week,
Yeah.
and that's. I mean, yeah, I could have.
If your job can keep funding you to go there, great, awesome.
Yeah.
Right. But there's
It's
no
like
real
one of those
advantage
conferences
as like
that
a
you're
startup.
oh,
There's no real advantage as a startup going.
No, there's
At
no,
all.
there's
Effectively,
no
it's,
advantage whatsoever. It's
Yeah.
something to go at personally.
It's a work
To have a good
excuse to
time.
party.
Exactly.
So you're saying it's not like a real conference. It's just a spectacle where you get to
oh,
see stuff happen.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and you get to, fucking take advantage of all the startups with way too much VC money who
Yeah.
don't know how to promote themselves, offering you free shit. And
So,
last 2 years ago, I think I got obliterated on Tito's vodka thanks to, maybe it was Foursquare? I don't remember. Pepsi Max was sponsoring something with someone.
It was Foursquare. I remember playing
Well,
Foursquare. Pepsi Max was there. It was awesome.
Yeah, Big Boy played and I got shit-faced.
Dude, I actually bribed my way into Big Boy's VIP room.
Yeah. I
It was
probably
great.
did too. I don't
Okay.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where we met? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
so this is
They had
also-
some Pepsi Clear there, right?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
this is
God.
an important point: is that none of the startups that are sponsoring Foursquare things are early stage.
Foursquare things.
Foursquare.
Yeah, Foursquare was really big by that point.
South by Southwest things.
Yeah.
I was thinking because Big Boy has a check-in, or he has a tip on Foursquare that says like, come to my private event. And it's like 2008.
I
The
thought-
year that you went.
Yeah, I
And
thought
it's
that was
at the
a
top
really
of
clever
the
use of
Austin
Foursquare.
Convention
Yeah,
Center.
really good use of
Yeah.
PR there. Yeah.
You know, it worked, but it's still like the top tip, and it's like 4
But
years
that's the
later.
only
and
time
it
I've
doesn't
ever
make
used
sense.
Foursquare.
I do have to say,
Oh, I love
Foursquare is made for South by.
Yeah.
It
It
is so fucking good. You know, last time I was there, I had, let's say, 30 people I knew who were in Austin on Foursquare, and fuck texting 30 people every time. You know, you're bouncing between events every 10 minutes. Someone posts, hey, I'm here on Foursquare, and you comment and you say,
I'm
like,
going there.
is there free entry? You know, and it's just like, you pull up your Foursquare and you see a list of where everyone is right now, and, you know, you can just, I never ran out of a thing to do, because I always just, I didn't even have to, like, organize parties beforehand, because I had organized friends, and I could just pull up Foursquare and see where they were.
Yeah.
It was so easy.
But that's the other thing is like no one who's a pre-A-Round company is sponsoring anything at Foursquare at South by Southwest.
Who has money before that?
No, like
right?
it's not an early entry
Yeah,
thing. It's
that's
not,
like-
and
There's
like
no
your
benefit
brand.
as a startup to
Early
even
venture
visit as just like, I want to show my app to people as I
No.
talk to
That's
people.
bullshit.
That's bullshit.
You
No,
can
you're
spend your
never
money
gonna do
in
that.
other
Done.
places.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's very
Okay.
much like a
So is it like a-
post A-Round.
Like burn your VC money.
It's like burn
It's a
money.
waste.
I
I would
or-
never
Absolutely.
spend
Burn your
money
seed
on
money.
that.
In fact, I've always counseled all of my startups. My startups that I worked with were past.
Yeah.
You know, if you hire a PR agency, you're post
Oh yeah.
A-Round.
Definitely. Yeah.
And so we always said, oh no, don't go to fucking South by West.
South by West.
South by West.
South by
fuck
West.
off.
It's-
North by Northwest.
South by West, it's not even a real conference. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Go to South by
CBG.
Southwest.
So that wraps up
XXX.
another exciting episode of Techendo. We are so happy you made it this far. Cheers.
Tecate.
Cheers to everyone. Cheers.
The
Cheers.
beers.
And join us next time when we have Mark Zuckerberg and
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. That's too soon.
He's a hologram.
Too
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, with Tupac.
Hologram Tupac.
Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Tupac.
Hologram.
Biggie Smalls?
All of them are holograms.
Possibly.
Join us next time when we
Gigapixels.
have other amazing
Gigapix,
guests
what?
and people, and it'll be fun and exciting. So I would love if we could spotlight projects and startups. So if you're working on something cool and interesting and you want to come on the show or have us check it out and we'll talk about it, let me
Pasta
know
systems.
at this URL.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Are we doing plugs?
Not yet.
Okay.
Let me know at this URL. That's probably my email, actually.
It's a URL. It's
And
a
we'll
universal resource locator.
and okay, way to be pedantic.
Pedantic.
So do that. And next,
Should we do that again?
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
really
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
So if anyone has anything they'd like to plug on Techendo, you
stop
can reach
it.
this
It
guy.
needs to be done this way.
So if you guys
Okay.
would like to be featured on Techendo, my show, you're welcome.
My show, yeah.
I just hit you with my ring.
So that's the end of Techendo. Thanks for joining us, and I would like to say if you are working on something cool, a project, or just a cool startup that you want us to plug, we'll talk about it. You can be on the show or whatever. Or if you're a guest and you have a topic that you want to talk about, let us know. You can email me here, and I'll get back to you pretty quickly. So, does anyone have anything to plug? This is the plugging portion of the show.
Yeah, if you are a retail company and you want analytics on your real space stores, you should hit nearbysystems.com.
But
We do real analytics for retailers.
it's not.
That's nearbysystems.com.
Yes.
All right.
It's not fake space.
Not fake space.
Real space.
Yeah, meat space.
Meat space.
All right.
Yeah.
And if you're a startup, and
Like
Oh, I'm a startup.
Oh!
hey,
Yeah.
have we told you about pastasystems.com?
Tell me about pastasystems.com,
Oh,
please.
well, not only can we help with your management of your public relations outreach, we can
Wow.
also teach you how to do public relations.
You can teach me?
Yeah, I can.
Even you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Internally how to do your own public relations. You just need our toolkit, and we'll drop some knowledge on you.
Do you have
Awesome.
an SDK?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So visit
Thanks, Pasta Systems.
visit pastasystems.com and yeah, so I obviously have projects that have been scrolling through the bottom of this episode the entire
I'm
time.
gonna check it the whole time. Yeah.
GoSchoolyard.com. It's a Kickstarter kind of for student groups.
Yeah, definitely go schoolyard.
There's Valley Anon, which is an anonymous blogging platform.
My first blog post is going to be cross-posted to there.
Wait, no, I mean it's not. I mean somebody might say cross-post your
Someone,
blog
well,
post.
yeah.
Somebody say
I'm
cross-post.
I'm counting on it being cross-posted, guys.
And name tagged up, which we are turning into a registrar you'll actually want to use.
What? What?
And that is the end of Techendo.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Ahoy, hoy.
Have a good
Ahoy,
evening.
hoy.
You gotta look at this one. Everyone look at this one.
Ahoy,
Alright,
hoy.
bye. See you later.
Tecate.
The beer of beers.
Wait,
The
which
beer
way do I do
of
it?
beers.
I always do it the wrong way.
Yeah,
Alright,
Dan.
do it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Everyone look
Beers.
happy.
I hate life.
It wasn't like we both thought it was going to go a long ways. It was like, we'll both do it for fun, and even though we're going to lose some money probably, we'll just have been able to say we had a company.